I have been to a lot of cemeteries. My whole channel is about cemeteries. I'm often asked, have you ever witnessed anything paranormal in a cemetery? The answer to that is no, I never have. I'm there to take in the history and tell the stories of those that I have visited. There are those among us who have said that they've witnessed paranormal happenings in a cemetery. So today's video is going to be about some of those supposed hotbeds of paranormal activity, 5 of the scariest cemeteries in the world. Every list like this is objective. Some of these cemeteries you may not be aware of and some may be familiar. But first on our list, Resurrection Cemetery in Chicago. I have been fascinated and terrified by this story most of my life. Imagine you're driving down Archer Road or Archer Avenue in Chicago. A beautiful young lady is walking along the road. She motions for a ride and you stop to pick her up. While driving, you glance in the rearview mirror and she's gone. Or perhaps you're driving beside of Resurrection Cemetery and you look in your rearview mirror and she's just there. One of the most famous vanishing ghost stories of all time, Resurrection Mary, as she is known, is said to haunt Resurrection Cemetery. It seems like every list of macabre topics always seems to include famed writer Edgar Allan Poe. Even the name of the cemetery that holds his remains sounds creepy. Westminster Hall and Burying Ground in Baltimore, Maryland. Poe was actually buried twice. His original final resting place is just around the corner of Westminster Presbyterian Church in this very cemetery. Not only is Poe laid to rest here, he is accompanied by 15 Revolutionary War generals and War of 1812 generals. And like a thick fog, Poe's presence smothers the Westminster burying ground, making this one of the scariest cemeteries in the world. The catacombs of Paris is the kind of place that nightmares are made of. Wrap your mind around this fact. The catacombs hold the final remains of more than 6 million people. This is a small part of a tunnel network beneath a portion of Paris. But make no mistake, these walls are no ordinary structures. The designer of the redesign of the catacombs stacked skulls and femur bones into patterns that can still be seen today. In fact, bones are in nearly every direction. This is considered one of the world's most haunted places, which isn't hard to imagine. The remains of 6 million people from 1785 through the 1800s exposed and stacked nearly everywhere. I know this list is subjective, but it's hard to believe that these much disturbed final remains would not make similar lists. Number 4, let's make a visit to my home state of Kentucky. Pikeville, Kentucky. Pikeville Cemetery is not only the home to one of the most famous buried alive stories of all time, but also one of the most credible. Octavia Hatcher was sick for several months, as was several other people within the city of Pikeville. She died on May 5th, 1891. Or did she? She was buried, however, other people stricken with similar sickness would start waking up after being presumed dead. Apparently this illness was so severe that heart rates were slowing to a dangerously low rate, so low that they were pronounced dead. Octavia's husband, fearful that this may be the case, had his wife dug up. A heartbreaking discovery was made. There were signs of a struggle within her coffin, and it was said that Octavia Hatcher was indeed buried alive. As such, it is said that Octavia herself haunts the grounds in which she was buried alive. Our final cemetery on this list gives us another international location. This cemetery is the supposed home of a spirit so terrifying and angry it was given its own name, the Mackenzie Poltergeist. This cemetery in which this poltergeist resides, Greyfriars Kirkyard, is in Scotland. The legend goes that a homeless man broke into the Black Mausoleum in the cemetery and released the angry spirit. It is said that those visiting, and especially those taking nighttime tours of the mausoleum, will emerge with scrapes, bruises, and even broken bones. Could this be hyped up and the result of overactive imaginations? Maybe, but I'm not trying to find out. This is just a small list of the scariest cemeteries in the world, and we will probably make future lists like this. If you have a suggestion, please let me know in the comments. All of our videos are about cemeteries most of the time, visiting a historical location or famous grave, but always something to do with a cemetery. Please click subscribe and join us. Another video of mine will be popping up on the screen soon. Please watch for another cemetery video. I will see you again soon.